Welcome to Session 6 of this online course on freshwater health. Here, we will present a tool, the Freshwater Health Index, that has been specifically designed to integrate the topics introduced in the previous 5 sessions of the course. My name is Derek Vollmer, and I'm the Senior Director for Freshwater Science at Conservation International. In this lecture, you will begin by learning about the rationale for the Freshwater Health Index, or FHI for short. We will then go through a brief overview of the indicators that make up the FHI and explore the various ways that they can be measured and reported. Following that, you will learn about the many ways that decision makers and other stakeholders can be involved in the FHI assessment process. Finally, the lecture will conclude with an overview of the advanced topics in Freshwater Health online course, which will delve deeper into each of the topics introduced in this course and will include hands-on training on the FHI tool. As you learned in the previous lecture, there are already a number of indicators in use and ways to go about measuring some aspect of the sustainability of water resource systems. And these tools have been developed to operate at various scales and appeal to specific audiences or groups of decision makers. The Freshwater Health Index was designed not to replace existing tools, but to fill certain gaps and to support a move from risk identification to joint problem solving. In particular, there was an opportunity to link ecological integrity with ecosystem services, connecting both social and ecological indicators, and to develop a tool that would promote collective action at the basement or catchment scale, where key decisions are made and where trade-offs largely occur. Throughout this lecture series, we have learned about the diverse freshwater ecosystems and their functioning, and how humans rely on certain services from these ecosystems for our well-being. We've also explored the role that humans play in maintaining or degrading these ecosystems, and how governance and management systems influence our ability to keep freshwater systems in a good state of health. Any river or lake basin where humans are present is an example of a social ecological system, and so in order to understand the health of the system, the Freshwater Health Index was designed to measure and monitor core aspects of both the social and ecological elements. The FHI defines freshwater health across 3 pillars: ecosystem vitality, or the ecological integrity of the forests, wetlands, and water bodies in a particular basin or catchment; ecosystem services, as the benefits that people within the basin rely on, which include water provision and fish, but also protection from floods and landslides, from poor water quality and disease, as well as cultural services like recreation. And finally, the people pillar, the water governance system in place. Each of these major indicators contains 2 or more sub-indicators not listed here. The data to measure these can come from a variety of sources, including field monitoring campaigns, official government sources, surveys, and even satellites. As you can imagine, some of these major indicators have standard methods for their measurement, while others can be rather subjective and usually only considered qualitatively. And while we will not go into methods in detail here, you can learn more in the advanced topics in Freshwater Health lecture series, or by visiting the Freshwater Health Index website. The goal of the FHI is to be just like getting a regular checkup with your doctor. It provides a comprehensive overview of your health, but without taking too long or costing too much. When you identify serious problems, then you may need to spend more time and money consulting with specialists. At the basin scale, 3 overarching scores are calculated corresponding to the 3 main components: ecosystem vitality, ecosystem services, and governance and stakeholders. Here you can see that in the center of these diagrams is the overall score for that component. The FHI uses a 0 to 100 scale for each indicator, so the higher the score, the better the health for that component. For more detailed information about the individual indicators, they are presented in the inner ring, and sub-indicators are on the external ring. And to interpret these, we use a color gradient, which allows you to quickly highlight areas of high or low performance. Greens and blues indicate relatively good health, while oranges and reds are areas of concern. You can see very easily with this example that practically all elements of the governance and stakeholder component are underperforming, and this is actually a common trend observed in many basins around the world. The components and indicators are standard across FHI assessments, meaning that each of the listed indicators should be accounted for in some way to represent the full social ecological system. But each assessment is unique because each basin has unique characteristics, and so the FHI is designed to reflect local priorities. This is done by having stakeholders weight the ecosystem services and governance and stakeholder indicators according to their preferences. On this diagram, you can see the weight or the importance that stakeholders place on individual indicators depending on the size of each segment of the circle. For example, the basin represented here supplies water to the metropolitan area of Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. And stakeholders understandably placed a high priority on water supply reliability, making up nearly half of the overall score for ecosystem services. In other words, from their perspective, the health of the basin should largely be judged on its ability to meet their water demand needs. In other basins, stakeholders may want to place more importance on cultural services, or perhaps they're primarily concerned with flood control. The FHI allows for some flexibility to reflect these preferences while still adhering to a standard framework. A desktop tool is now available for calculating these indicators with your own data and can be freely downloaded from the Freshwater Health Index website. The tool allows for data exploration and visualization and helps to standardize the assessment process. Users can upload spreadsheets and shapefiles from their basin, as well as manually enter or modify data for each indicator. This helps make the results more transparent for anyone who wants to understand what is contributing to the scores. The governance indicators are calculated by administering a survey, which can be done in person or online, and those responses are averaged and translated into numeric scores. User manuals are available in multiple languages, and training modules are available online. The assessment process takes several months, but most of this time goes into data collection and stakeholder engagement. The numbers and report that this tool generates are important information, but without a solid understanding of the audience and its needs, they may have limited impact. After all, the Freshwater Health Index is not just a desktop tool. It is not just a series of reports and numbers. It is meant to be a standardized way to get multiple stakeholders on the same page with regards to water resource management. There are a variety of ways that this can be accomplished. In addition to administering surveys that allow stakeholders to directly participate in assessing their governance systems and weighting indicators, the FHI process offers several entry points for input and feedback. In a typical assessment, 2 or 3 stakeholder forums are convened around the theme of freshwater health and provide an opportunity for stakeholders to share their own experiences and efforts to promote a healthy basin. This also provides a space for group discussions, where the emphasis is on mixing stakeholders from various sectors together to expose them to different perspectives on issues of freshwater health. As indicators are calculated, stakeholders can also play a valuable role in validating those initial results. Do they conform to expectations? If not, what may be the cause? And finally, once a baseline set of indicators has been calculated, it can be useful to explore how freshwater health in the future might be impacted by land use change, climate change, or infrastructure development. With either qualitative or quantitative scenarios, stakeholders can begin to identify goals or explore problems to be avoided in the future. As this opening session on fundamentals concludes, we hope you have gained a better understanding of the various elements of freshwater health and how they are connected. We also hope that you will check out the lecture series Advanced Topics in Freshwater Health, which will reinforce and expand upon the themes introduced in this course. 3 sessions, organized along the 3 pillars of the FHI, will provide greater depth on key issues, offer readings and hands-on activities, and expose you to elements of the FHI tool. So we hope you will continue your exploration of these topics and identify ways to relate them to your own work. Thank you for your attention, and for more information on the FHI, including the tool, previous reports, and reference materials, please visit freshwaterhealthindex.org.